So, unfortunately, this is not going to be a natural intro like the one that I thought we were recording a few minutes ago. But now we are truly recording, so we can truly start this episode of Cranked and Ranked.
Yes, we can.
It's not going to be as good. So, what the shit that you guys missed a couple minutes ago, fucking gold.
That was gold. It's all downhill from here.
This is not going to be very good. But welcome to Cranked and Ranked. And welcome to a special edition of Cranked and Ranked, a series of episodes we like to call C&R Sidebar.
Mm-hmm.
And it's even a special version of C&R Sidebar, because usually when we do C&R Sidebar, there's a theme or a topic that isn't related to any of our sort of normal videos. But this time we are doing a C&R Sidebar about nothing.
Yeah, there's
like,
no plan.
It's like the Led Zeppelin 4 of C&R Sidebars, because it's just C&R Sidebar untitled.
Yeah.
And
I forgot my bag of sticks.
And this was Eddie's idea to see what would happen when people stop being polite and start getting real, the real world.
Mm-hmm.
Was that show? I don't think you're old enough to know that reference.
I've heard of the Real World. Let me see, the Real World show.
It started in the early 90s. I want to say like 92, 93 maybe.
It's like one of the first reality shows, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I have heard of this. I never watched it, but I have heard of it.
And originally, it was actually very good. Because the idea was, I don't know if this show came before. What's that? There's a really popular one in England where everybody lives in a house. What's the
Big Brother?
Big Brother. I think this was before even Big Brother, I think.
Yeah.
And but the thing that I really enjoyed about it was, I don't know what year it started, but I'm going to say it was probably 92, 93. But so I was a teenager, and they specifically put together these different kinds of people. Yeah. And for maybe 2 or 3 seasons, it appeared that they were just letting them live their lives and be themselves. And they were obviously like giving them little things like, oh, we're going to go to this restaurant or whatever. But it seemed literally like different people either getting along, not getting along. You learn about people. It was for a young person, it was one of those things in the 90s that made me go, oh man, we're really going to make some huge steps forward in our generation. We're going to leave behind these dumbass boomers, and we're going to make shit that means something, and we're going to understand all kinds of different people. There's going to be no racism, no sexism, no homophobia, none of that stuff by the time I'm an adult.
Generation X.
And that didn't happen. Because a few seasons later, all of a sudden you could tell that they were like, look, we're paying you for this. We want you to get drunk and fight every episode. Okay. But originally, the Real World, I thought the Real World was very good, and watched it regularly. I watched everything on MTV in the early 90s. And ladies and gentlemen, that is an example of what's happening on today's episode of C&R Sidebar. It's just whatever tangents we decide to go off on. And yeah. I'm very glad I got my other cup of coffee, because I really think it really makes my brain start going. And this is when I need the synapses to fire, because I don't have any notes. There's no notes. It's it's a very uncomfortable feeling not to have any notes. Just saying.
Yeah. Freewheeling.
Anyway, yeah. So this is why am I still doing an intro? You know what? It should be an entire show of me doing an intro. We're finally at the end. I go, all right, now we're gonna get to the show. Good night, everybody. But so we're just gonna shoot the shit, just like two blokes having a pint at the pub, And whatever comes up is what comes up. So join us. You can grab a chair, pull up a chair, but you're not going to be able to get a word in edgewise because we're the only ones with microphones.
Cool.
But what's on your mind, good sir?
Well, I thought that I might search the web for something that might, spark some conversation, and I came across a list by Loudwire
Oh
of
shit.
the top 25 metal mascots, and I wanted to check this out and see which are the most legitimate and whether or not you agree with the placings of said mascots.
Send me the link, sir. I will.
Okay,
I'm gonna look at it with you.
cool. Because
You
it
know,
popped out to me.
do you know what I just saw somebody make a TikTok that was saying, when you're an adult and you have an adult friendship, you know that the person is a good friend when the way that you normally communicate is by sending each other memes and TikToks and stuff like that. And I
Hmm.
was like, that is me and Eddie. Like we
Yeah.
text sometimes, but he sends me all kinds of shit that I don't even understand what it is. And I don't even know how to respond. I'm just like, okay.
So I get
He sent me like 50 versions of the scene from 8 Mile where Eminem
Yeah,
is rapping to the crowd, only it's just like,
yeah,
1877 cars for kids or something
yeah.
like that.
The best one is the "We Buy Any Car" jingle. That
But
one
those are
worked.
most of the almost
We
every.
buy any car.com. Any. We buy any car.com.
But the thing is, most of those were jingles that I've never even heard.
Yeah.
They're British or in your neck of the woods. And so
The
I was all like, what is this song?
Yeah, the "We Buy Any Car" one had me on the floor
Yeah.
crying, laughing at that.
So
It was just how perfectly they'd sped up the crowd.
Yeah.
Where it's
Yeah.
like Eddie. It is,
Did-
yeah. From 50 quid to 100 grand, we buy any car.
Before we get it, okay, good. They did it the right way. I really hate it when a publication publishes a top 25 or something of something, and they start off with number one. And I'm just like,
Yeah,
no, that's not
yeah.
how I want to read that.
No,
Let's
I wanna
go
work-
backwards.
I want to work up to it. Yeah.
So the thing that we're going to run into here is that this is the top 25 metal mascots, and I guarantee you I don't know at least half of these. There's going to be half,
Okay.
like this first one, Heart Beast from Cataclysm.
Yep.
Don't know that one, and that looks pretty generic, not very memorable at all.
Mhm.
Not Man at 24.
That's what made me think that you're going to have some hot takes here. Not Man
Not-
at 24. I
Nah.
disagree. Should
So-
be higher.
I bet you I know. I don't even want to read their thing because a Loudwire is pretty lame most of the time. But the Not Man, I think because it doesn't necessarily look very metal, but it is very memorable and like an iconic image from a metal
Yeah.
band. I get that, but I would put it in the top 10 at least.
Yeah, I agree. Then you got Jester Head in Flames.
I didn't even know that was a mascot. And what the fuck is it? It's just a spiky helmet thing.
He's a Transformers looking kind of guy.
I think some of these they're just trying their best to have a mascot, and they're just like, look, we use the same weird nondescript image in every album, then it's a mascot, right?
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
the
it's quite-
fuck is? Okay, I understand, but no.
Yeah. It's Face Bones by Death Clock.
Look,
which is
Death Clock, Metalocalypse, funny show.
yeah.
That don't you only have 25 spots? Don't waste one on a parody band.
Yeah.
No matter how fun they are. I'm
Yeah.
into that.
You
What
got-
the fuck is this next one?
There's Ziltoid the Omniscient, Devin Townsend. I think Ziltoid's pretty legit.
It looks like a Muppet. I
He-
dig it.
He is. I remember seeing a music video a while back where he's like driving a train, and it's hilariously awesome. It's pretty
Devin
cool.
Townsend's a dude that I really appreciate, like pretty much everything I've heard that he does, but it seems like a daunting thing to try to get into
Hmm.
to his discography, not just his solo, but also strapping young lad. But I like what I've heard. That reminds me that somebody was, I think it was on the last live stream I did. Somebody brought up Buckethead, and I was like, oh, I've heard some Buckethead. It's always kind of cool. How many albums does he have? Oh,
300?
500? Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, never mind, Buckethead, you're cool and all, but I don't got that kind of time.
My friend Dan back in college, he was like like deep down the guitar nerd rabbit hole. Had watched every episode of like Premier Guitar Rig Rundown, everything. He was like obsessed, loved gear, real gearhead. And
Yeah.
I just remember like talking to him, and I'm pretty sure he'd heard at least half the Buckethead albums. I was like, wow, that's just
Yeah.
genuinely impressive at that point.
Yeah.
Like it's just fucking crazy.
So,
Absolutely insane.
so this next one, is this actually a mascot, or is this just a character on one of their albums?
I think he shows up a couple times. I
It's
think I've seen.
the Mad Butcher from Destruction, because I
Yeah,
maybe he's on other stuff, but I don't think I've seen another Destruction album with the Mad Butcher on it. But
he apparently makes regular appearances at shows decked out in a blood spattered apron and his signature red stained meat cleaver. So it might be more of a
Gotcha.
live element. But
Sure. So
19 scary guy.
number 19, the Metallica Scary Guy for me is top 5 at least.
Yeah,
Just because I've always really liked, it's memorable but also very simple, and I've always in my head I'm still sort of attached to being a teenage metal fan, and the
yeah.
fact that it's something that I could draw. You know, I could end up figuring out how to draw this. That's very cool. Plus I have it tattooed on my arm.
Hey.
Although I get really pissed off because this is one of my first tattoos, and the guy forgot to color in the eyes because the eyes are usually red, and I didn't notice it until like months later. I was just like, wait, what? That's why that looks weird. He didn't color in the eyes. And at that point, I'm just like, I'm not going back to say color in the fucking eyes. I'm just whatever. It's fine. But I love the scary guy.
I thought that he first showed up on the Live Ship Into Purge box set, but he actually showed up on the 1992 Live at Wembley single.
No, interesting.
Yeah, so he's not actually that wasn't his first appearance. The Live Ship Into Purge box.
I do know in the early 90s, a lot of stuff that Metallica put out, you would sometimes see these doodles from James just randomly on them. And so I'm guessing that's how it came about, where he just put that, and they put it on something. I guess it caught on, and then eventually I guess they put it on shirts, and then, but the first time I think I remember seeing it was Live Shit, because it had the stencil in it and everything.
Yeah.
So once again, number 18, the Christar from Danzig. Isn't this just on one album? This is just on one Danzig album.
You know, I think you're right. Is that right? Hang on. Danzig albums.
Okay, so it says they used it in Samhain as well. I mean, it's a very memorable album image. I'll give it that.
Yeah. But even then, if it's only the debut, can it really be considered a mascot?
Yeah.
I suppose I see. Here's the little footnote at the bottom. Though Christar has retreated into hiding and hasn't been on an album since '88, the skull icon is joined at Danzig's hip and waist as a belt buckle, only needing 2 album appearances to make a lifelong impact.
Got it. All right, fine. But my favorite thing about this is that back when I was younger, there was a band in Austin that was called Gomez. They were like a pop punky kind of band. Yeah. And their only album is styled exactly like that, only it's Yoda.
No way.
Yeah. And I always really liked that, because that's also, we're talking mid 90s. That was probably 95 maybe. And around that time, if you were into Star Wars, you were fucking cool.
Yeah.
And then very quickly it became, you're a douchebag. But, you know, it's for a little while there, it was nice. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why, like, it's such a big deal. Like, for younger people, you go and watch like Clerks, and you're just like, oh, they're just like everybody else. They're making Star Wars references. No, nobody did that prior to that. I don't remember hearing a real like Star Wars conversation in a movie prior to Clerks, and that was around the time that me and my friends were always talking about things like Star Wars. So.
You want to know a crazy fact I found out recently while we're on the subject of Star Wars?
Yeah.
Did you know the last guillotine execution was carried out the same year? Last guillotine execution in France was carried out in 77, the same year as Star Wars. How fucked is that? How crazy is that to think about that kind of timeline?
There was a guillotine execution in the 70s.
In France.
I wonder what they did. Well,
they cut his head off for a start.
To be fair, that's a way more rewarding ending. If you're like the family of a victim or something, and you get to go and watch the execution, I would rather a guillotine over an electric chair or gas chamber or injection. Like, I want to see a motherfucker's head get cut off if they've done something to somebody like in my family or something. Guillotine is the way to go.
Yeah, and then play catch football with his head, rock and roll,
or that too. All right, let's move on. Number 17, The Man with the Iron Mask from Quiet Riot. Now that was used on several albums, so I'm going to give that. And that's pretty iconic, though. The Quiet Riot guy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's on like all of their albums apart from like one, but I know he's definitely on the first three.
Yeah,
it's a cool looking.
There's three album covers I can definitely see in my head.
Yeah. It's a pretty cool mascot. I mean, it's not a painting as far as I can tell.
No.
It's a photo.
Speaking of that, I got to get that other Quiet Riot album. The third one, what's it called? The third one?
3.
Or is it the Yeah, that is the one. Is that the one that has that song that I like so much on it? The
Wild and the Young.
Yeah,
that's a great song.
And I remember it had another cover song on it too. Like they tried to do another "Come On, Feel the Noise." Oh, it was "Mama, We're All Crazy Now."
Oh, that was on Condition Critical. That was on the one before it.
So that was so is Metal Health is their first album?
Metal Health's their third album, but it's the first one where people paid attention to them because there's two albums.
Is Condition Critical before Metal Health?
No, that's after.
Then why is there an album called 3? Wait, what? I'm really confused.
Okay, so Quiet Riot did 2 albums in the 70s when they had Randy Rhoads on guitar.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right, so
which are affectionately called Quiet Riot and Quiet Riot 2.
Got it. That makes sense right there.
So tell you what, I'm gonna get up their discography a moment. Okay, so Quiet Riot 1 and 2 both came out in 1978. So double.
So did I.
Yeah, cool. Yeah,
I came out in 1978.
So yeah, one was March 2nd and 2 was December 2nd.
No way, that's my birthday, March 2nd.
Holy shit!
I was born the same day as which album? The first one?
Yeah, but only in Japan.
That's all right. I mean, I came out in America only. That's pretty great. I was born the same day as Quiet Riot to a lot of people.
Yeah,
that's pretty great. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
But like it's wild that there's like a 5-year gap then. Like they put out 2 albums in a single year.
Yeah.
And there's a 5-year gap.
But if I remember right, I think that's in that book. There's that book I read, which is called Nothing But a Good Time. I think they covered a little bit of that, where I think they literally were trying out all these different people that were different members of the band during that period before they kind of rebooted or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's a crazy one.
So what's their third album called?
Which third album do you mean?
The third album they put out, in chronologically.
So it goes Quiet Riot 2, and then Metal Health.
Got it. Okay. And then
And then Condition Critical, which is the one where he's on a stretcher. What the what the fuck's going on with this? Hey,
how do I make balloons happen? We're learning all kinds of cool stuff.
this is just a part of the show now. This is incredible.
I don't even know. For those of you who are listening as a podcast, Zoom is doing these things now. Last episode, I did like a weird thumb thing and it gave a thumbs up. But now I was counting on my fingers and it just sent up a bunch of balloons.
That truly is.
Is that how you do it? That's how you do it?
What if I try this? Is it working yet?
We're just doing middle fingers.
Nope, nothing. Shit.
Okay. Is that the right way to do it? Like I've always thought, this, and then you put your thumb in between them like a little penis.
I have no idea, but that's delightful. That is
Well, how
great.
do you do it if you ever do that?
Just like that.
So there's no, but I've always thought you do that, and it's like a little, it's a thick,
potentially
a little thick dong in there.
Like a little chode sitch going on.
We're doing what do we even call that? Because it's not the middle finger, it's the
V for, I don't know.
V for victory. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, that's that one.
That's this one. This is the V for go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Anyway, so balloons came up. That was fun. Anyway, all right. Mental health is number 3.
Yep.
Condition critical is number 4. And then number 3 is number 5.
Yeah. Quiet Riot 3 is 5, the 5th album. I just love how that reads. Quiet Riot 3 is the 5th studio album released by...
So did they call it that because was there another change in lineup? Like, is it Mach 3? Like a Deep Purple kind of thing?
I think this is one of those things where it's almost kind of like Faith No More, where the first 2 albums are a different setup to the remaining, so. But interestingly, you get Quiet Riot 3, and then 1988, they go, oh, well, we've got a new singer. We'll just call it Quiet Riot.
They had, oh shit, I lost the fucking article we were looking at. It went away. Hold on. They put out that many albums in the 80s?
They put out 4 in the 80s. The last one being called QR, and it had a different singer. Paul Shortino is the singer.
I don't know if I've ever heard that one.
He was from Rough Cut.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, they're the little
singer.
We're gonna get to Quiet Riot too. That'll be one that we get to.
There is one called Terrified, which came out in 1993, and that sees the return of the Man in the Iron Mask, and then Down to the Bone in 95, Alive and Well. Yeah, I think from then on, the Iron Mask is pretty much present for the rest of them.
All right, we gotta go through the rest of this list because it keeps giving me ads. Okay. Loudwire is so fucking lame. Just gonna throw that out there. Every time I've ever gone to look at Loudwire, it's just all kinds of ads popping up everywhere. Number 16, Korgel from the Voivod, which I like that one. But I also really like Voivod. But I've always liked, because that's designed by Away, the drummer, and he's done. I think he may have done all of the artwork on all of their albums as well, and I always really liked his style because it's almost like crude sci-fi, and I really, especially now that we've gotten way further into, artwork being so perfect all the time and everything. It's the crude sci-fi thing is still, I don't know, it still does it for me. Because I love the sci-fi movies like Star Wars, where like all of the ships are like dusty and rusted, and like that's the best sci-fi to me. I don't want super sparkly sci-fi.
Yeah, I don't want like squeaky clean. I want something to look like it's been in quite a few, scuffles, like it's just taken off from a dusty ass planet and it's covered in shit, you know. That's what
Yeah.
I love. That's what I love about the Millennium Falcon. It's just it's such a crazy design, but also it looks weathered, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's got that, yeah. I'm with you on that. I definitely, I'm a fan of that kind of weathered sci-fi look.
All right. The next one.
It's Set Abominai is the it's not only Iced Earth's mascot, but the subject of a prophetic tale that has been told across 3 albums as well as an EP.
Right. That's also pretty lame. That shouldn't be anywhere in this list. That's very lame. What are they going to put next? The fucking Manowar album cover after this? Jeez.
Sergeant D.
Sergeant D. I don't love Sergeant D, but it's cool.
Yeah.
I have a weird relationship with that album. And
Yeah.
I think I've probably talked about it before. And it's only because like I really hate that they ever did anything else under the name SOD. I wish that they had just put out that album and then let it live, and that was it. Because doing anything else with it, it started to give it this air of legitimacy, and all of a sudden it didn't seem like a joke anymore. And I think so many people that hear this album don't think that it's a joke. And I'm like, it's a joke. It's not. So I don't know, but you take that out of context and you make it into, oh, it's a band that has a DVD and a live album and another album. That just makes you go, oh, okay, now it's not as cool anymore. But that's just my opinion. Who the fuck am I? But I just, I love this album. Nothing after this.
I just love the fucking what's that track? What's that noise? I just thought, what? Yeah. What the fuck's that noise? And they keep trying to play, and it's just like fucking. Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, the best one is the fucking, what is it called? The Ballad of Jimi Hendrix or whatever.
But you're dead.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. All right, Black Sabbath, the Henry the Fall. I didn't know he had a name, Henry the Fallen Angel from Black Sabbath. I like that one.
Yeah.
It's almost cool. It's almost like the inverse of like the Swan Song Led Zeppelin thing, only this is the demonic version of that.
He's kind of classy too. Like this looks like the sophisticated man's metal mascot, you know? It's got like an air of class to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, they keep saying that they're going to be, I think this year, putting out reissuing the 80s Sabbath albums.
Thank God. I want a vinyl copy of Headless Cross ASAP.
Yeah, I'd like Headless Cross. I almost hope that they do everything through the 90s.
Yeah.
Just because I would like to have a lot of those, really. But anyway, yeah, that's a good one. 13. Number 12 is Knucklehead and Five Finger Fruit Punch. And that is lame. Because it literally looks like an amalgamation of a whole bunch of other metal mascots, and they couldn't really come up with an original idea.
It always made me think of the Never Say Die album cover.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But just like 2000s-ified to the point where it's like, you know, that like 2000s rock aesthetic where it's like, Avenged Sevenfold did a little bit of it as well, where it's like cartoonish, but it's like kind of comic booky, but it's also kind of, it's kind of cheeseball. And I feel like that amalgamated into probably my least favorite era of album art. I'm not going to lie. And that's not a slight against comics. It's just, it's the fact that it's just made to look so edgy, and it it just doesn't hit for me. It doesn't land. I much prefer stuff like, you know, the Iron Maiden and Megadeth album covers that are like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like I'd even take one of my favorite album covers, and I can't explain why, is probably because of that weathered sci-fi look, is So Far So Good So What. I love that
Yeah.
album cover, and so many people think it looks lame and cheap,
Yeah.
and I'm like that's why I like it, you know. It's this like weird outlier album in their original thrash era. Like, I know, of course, you had the debut was cheap as fuck, but that has an aura all of its own. But you've got these two Ed Repka ones and this like weird Star Warsy one that's sandwiched between these two iconic covers, and I think
that's really the problem. I think the problem is in between those two like iconic album covers.
Yeah,
and the So Far So Good So What one is cool, but it's not in the same way that the other two are cool.
Yeah, it's got a different aesthetic to it, you know.
Yeah.
And I think, please tell me, okay, at least at least the Overkill logo is above the Avenged Sevenfold logo, because the Avenged Sevenfold logo is straight rip.
Which one's which?
Yeah. Straight up, yeah.
Once again, this literally just looks like that, like tattoo art that's on the wall, and you go to the shop and you're like, I'll have that one on the wall, and it's just a skull with bat wings. So I love the fact that Avenged Sevenfold have come around and become a band that I'm now interested in, because their last album was so cool. So now I'm just like, all right, well, they had to go through their pretty lame phase in order to get to where they are now. And that's just, it's a pretty lame mascot. The Not Man should be well above these that we're looking at right now.
I think, and this is not because, you know, I'm not pulling the boomer energy card. I legitimately think the Death Bat is so similar to Chaley, is it? The Overkill one?
Yeah.
I think it for all intents and purposes, it is a very recognizable image, and for its era, it is an icon that is emblematic of the 2000s into the 2010s popular metal stuff. I do think it deserves credit, and I think it should be on this list. However, I don't think it should be above the likes of Scary Guy, and I just, yeah, and Not Man.
Shouldn't
be
above the Black Sabbath one, or
no.
I mean, or the Voivod. Those should all be higher up than this.
Yeah.
And then you got the next one.
That's
I don't know how to pronounce that. From Sodom, the Sodom sort of military looking guy.
Yeah.
Which is okay. It's, you know.
I always thought he kind of shared similarities to OD.
Yeah, well, but from Sacred Reich. But did OD come out? Was Sodom first?
I think Sodom might have been first, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, the real question is OD on here? So Charlie bit me.
Oh, Charlie.
Overkill is number 9, which it's a skull with bat wings, which comes very close to the other skull with bat wings. So, which honestly, like in the 80s, that's pretty cool. And the way that the artwork, especially because they're doing the Under the Influence artwork, which is pretty cool. I like that artwork.
Roy.
I love that the Children of Bodom mascot's name is Roy. And it's the Grim Reaper. Roy the Grim Reaper. Talk about not being imaginative at all.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'm not even going to give that any more time. Creator, Violent Mind. So once again, has that mascot been on multiple Creator albums or just that one?
I'm not sure.
It's made its first album appearance on Coma of Souls in 1990. Okay. There's
Okay,
three
he's
consecutive
also
album covers: Violent Revolution, Enemy of God, and Hordes of Chaos. Okay, so it's been
yeah.
on a few album covers.
If it
Um,
makes repeat appearances on album covers and merch, it can be considered a mascot.
I do like this one. I like the idea of the weird, ghoulish looking guy, but then his brain is open and you can see,
Yeah.
all this chaotic shit going on inside of it.
Yeah. Okay. The guy Disturbed. I feel the same way about the guy as I do the Five Finger Death Punch one, but I do like the guy more.
This is better than Five Finger Death Punch, but
Absolutely. But yeah, for sure. I do like the guy, but I like the guy in the way a 12-year-old might see Ghost Rider and think, "Ah, that guy's on fire. That's pretty cool."
yeah, yeah.
Um,
But I know I feel like I've seen this mascot on all kinds of Disturbed albums, so I think that they continuously use him, so that makes sense.
okay, hang on. That can't be the best version of Jack O' Lantern by Halloween.
So the only reason I really is this. Does he normally have Judge Dredd's outfit on? Because that's
This,
literally Jack O'Lantern from Halloween, but
yeah,
he's dressed up as Judge Dredd. Is that correct?
I guess. I mean, I'm no expert, but it looks like it.
Okay,
Surely,
the fucking pumpkin.
hang on. Hang on.
Once again, that doesn't take very much brain power to be like, hey, we're called Halloween. Okay, it's just going to be a pumpkin man. All right, thanks for the 2 seconds it took you to think of that.
I tell you what, though, it's a bitch to look up on Google because I've typed in Jack O' Lantern Halloween and it's just showing me pumpkins. Not. It's like, did you mean Halloween Jack O' Lantern? No, I fucking didn't. It's really hard to explain why.
That's the one thing I want them to update because so many times it doesn't let you say no. Like, did you mean this? No, I want to be able to click a button that says no, I did not mean that, just so I
Yeah.
can search for what I want to search for. It's fun, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just kind of it's giving Nightmare Before Christmas. No, Nightmare. No, is it Nightmare Before? Yeah, I'm having a brain melt.
Who? What?
Nightmare Before Christmas. Is it Nightmare?
Jack Skeleton?
Yeah, Jack Skellington. Yeah,
Skelly. Oh, is it Skelly? I fuck, I don't know. I'm proud to not really know that movie.
it's a fun film. I enjoyed it, but it definitely got co-opted by the emos. But it is a fun movie. It is a fun movie.
Yeah.
Um, what
Number
have we got
four.
here?
Four is
Murray
from
Dio.
Dio. Once
He's pretty
again,
cool.
is he on more than one album cover?
Yeah, he's on Last in Line. He's on quite a few.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't
He's
really
pretty
remember, but
badass. I'm not gonna lie.
it's a pretty cool, but I like it just because it's like the painted album art and
Yeah.
it looks nice. It's a nice album or metal album image.
80s painted album art
Is
when it comes to heavy metal is just it fits it perfectly.
I mean, there's a lot of people doing it now again, especially in death metal.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that thrash gets on board because thrash needs to really get its shit together because there are some bands that are doing it really well, but a vast majority of them that are they still can't get out of the screamy pizza thrash. And I'm just like, yeah, let's move away. Let's move away from that.
Yeah. What's that band? Sorry, I was just going to say, what's that band? Blood Incantation. That's the band I've seen using like 70s sci-fi art. Have you seen this band?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. See, I fucking love that because it has that vibe to it again. And
yeah,
I don't know if this affects everybody, but for me, I think it's good to have an image paired to an album because for some reason, like I don't know, man. I wouldn't necessarily say I've ever had an album ruined by a bad album art, but I've definitely had an album enhanced by good album art. You
Yeah,
know?
I agree. Um, yeah, the number three mascot 100% deserves to be in the top five.
Yeah, Snaggletooth.
Snaggletooth from Motorhead. That's
Hell yeah.
iconic and has been used on all shitloads of Motorhead shit, so it counts as a
Yeah.
mascot. Number two, Vic Rattlehead. So I mean, I like Vic Rattlehead. He's fucking great.
Yeah.
But there's only one left, so I'm assuming it's Eddie. Yeah, Eddie's number one.
Oh, thank
So,
you.
no, Eddie the Ed.
Yeah.
But both of those are iconic and great, but they're both still very sort of like, hi, I'm Skull Guy, you know?
Yeah.
And I like them, but
I don't know, dude. I fucking love Vic Rattlehead.
Yeah, I do too. But now that I'm thinking about it, like who was left off of here, and whose mascot do I actually really like?
Well, OD.
Oh yeah, OD's not on here, but you could
No.
make the same. You could say the same thing about OD. OD is just like a skull. Well, not really a skull, but you know what I'm saying, like a
Yeah.
gnarly looking dead soldier guy.
Yeah, I suppose.
But I do like OD quite a bit. But they used, I feel like they only used OD on like 3 albums. I don't know. I think maybe he's been like on other stuff. I feel like I should know this. Anyway. Yeah, these are good. These are fine. These mascots are fine, but I definitely think that Not Man and Scary Guy should definitely be way higher up than they are. They should be in the top 10. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Well, that wraps that little one up. Something else I wanted to touch on.
Oh shit. Okay. I love that you came prepared.
Well,
I
this was a spur of the moment thing that I've had on my mind for a while now, and you and I are deep down the metal hole.
Yep.
Yep. You are familiar with Encyclopedia Metalum, the Metal Archives, right?
100%. I owe, whenever there's like a brand new band that doesn't have much of a web presence, I know I can get some details over on Encyclopedia Metalum. So,
well, I got to thinking, people can leave reviews on things. And I was thinking we, have a look at maybe like bad reviews of good albums oh
shit.
My
God.
I feel like that could be a fun idea.
All right.
Could yield some results. Maybe we could have a look at
how do we know what has a bad review? How can we do this?
Well, you go to a band's page. For example, I've got Metallica right here, and I've just thought,
this is great. Yes,
I'm gonna look at Ride the Lightning, and I'm gonna click on the reviews, and I'm gonna see, like, someone had the audacity to call Ride the Lightning a poor follow-up album and give it a 64%.
Dude, there's a lower one though.
Okay.
There's a 44% by somebody calling themselves the Roman shitlord. I'm gonna need to get my glasses for this, but
Okay.
I'm an old man.
All right. So are we doing a poor follow-up album or Ride the Reputation? Let's find the lowest review for like widely loved metal albums.
Okay. So So here's the thing. This is a review from 2023.
Oh, shit.
So really, like his name should be the Roman Edgelord, because I think this is what we're probably going to get here, where these younger people just like, I don't understand why this is good. It's not pig squealing grindcore death doom shit. Anyway, do you want to read this or you want me to read this? Let's take turns. Let's take turns on paragraphs like we're at school. And
Okay.
I'll do the first paragraph, and then I'll lead you into the second one. The Roman shitlord writes, if you're
I love
going to
this right out of the gate. Look.
oh yeah, and he's got his Ride the Lightning shirt on. If you're
Yep.
going to see any shirts of a Metallica album, it's going to be this one. It's got an awesome cover art, and I think putting it to a shirt design is a no-brainer. Take a shot every time you see this in public, and you'd be dead within a few hours. I'd almost call it poser bait if Metallica wasn't the most basic bitch metal band you could get. But I digress. So that right there is funny to me because the amount of truly basic bitch metal bands, when you say Metallica is the most, like, I understand that there are way more extreme, way more experimental bands. But if you're overlooking all this other bullshit to call them the most basic bitch band, that's one of two things is happening here. One, this is a dude that only knows about 10 metal bands. Two, this is a dude that has decided to put on the newbie metalhead starter jacket, which has all the right patches on it, and he knows that in order for people to take him seriously as a metalhead, you gotta say shit about Metallica. You gotta be. And so I'm just like, so not liking Metallica is one thing, but calling them like, one of the worst bands or the most basic bitch metal band, that right there loses so much credibility. And it's like, well, you're a complete moron.
Okay.
already right out of the gate, this person is a fucking moron. The Roman shitlord. All right. Paragraph 2 with Eddie Sparxx.
Okay. As for the actual music, Ride the Lightning is a fair bit of a development from Kill 'Em All, especially given the short gap between the two albums. It's significantly less punky and more melodic, with more variation in songwriting ideas. It's instantly more recognizable and, dare I say, more memorable in that department, given that Kill 'Em All reused a lot of riffing tropes throughout the runtime. There are still vestiges of punk left, but through and through, this is a pretty solidly more metal experience. Every song has its own identity, less keen on developing mosh pits and more keen on giving quality, memorable riffing, and with more focus on songwriting.
Whoa. So if you just take that paragraph, I'm 100% behind you, because that is actually what it is. Okay, so the next part you had said, so how did they do?
Yeah.
All right, next paragraph. The results here are fairly mixed overall. Opener Fight Fire with Fire is on the short list for title of Metallica's best song. The aggression from Kill 'Em All has been turned up to 12. Why 12? Bringing Metallica's fastest song yet, that's kept tight by a deceptively simple yet heavy riff. And it's not one-dimensional either. There's a crazy solo that still has little bursts of melody shining through before being taken and dragged under the riffage on display here. Then the title track comes on, and something is made clear very quickly. Metallica don't really know how to write slower songs.
What?
Jesus fucking
bullshit.
Christ. It's not out of complacency like it would be in their later years. It's more a sense of naivety and inexperience. These riffs are supposed to hit hard and heavy, but just fall flat, even in the melody department. While there's no shortage here, most of the riffs are still missing that final little je ne sais quoi.
Je ne sais quoi.
Very, very nice. To push them over to greatness. They lack a certain type of energy that thrash or even just metal of this variety requires, not working on the record, nor do they work live. Okay. The same goes for the eternally hailed From the Bell Tolls and the divisive Escape. Why did he skip so many songs? Oh, because he's talking about the slower ones. The title track definitely fares the best out of those three. From the Bell Tolls, content to plod along on the same riff for 5 minutes, and Escape seeing Metallica veer to the wrong side of pop metal, which it's absolutely, there's nothing poppy about that fucking song. Is it because they use major chords in the chorus? Is that why people's panties are in a twist?
Yeah.
Like the worst trend hopping of Judas Priest, which the best Judas Priest is the shit where they got a little bit more more, dare I say it, poppy. So I can't get over the fact that this person is reviewing this album like they just heard it now after hearing a dozen modern metal albums that have just completely been ripping shit off that other bands have done. So he really should have started his whole thing off being like, look, I'm a complete noob. I haven't heard a whole lot of albums, but I've got some opinions and I know how to write complete sentences. Please hear me out. And then I would be like, got it. So next paragraph.
Well, okay, let's hop in. Fade to Black is almost comical. This is Metallica's first ballad, and while they would eventually produce a classic in that department, if you're curious, it's One. They still have to hone that skill in.
One is not a ballad. I'm putting my fucking foot down. One is
no, it's not. No. As such, this song is rough. It's communicated with all the subtlety of a brick wall. Acoustic guitars are overwrought and sappy with actual riffs and underwritten and overstretched. Above all, the whole performance comes off as pretentious. Somehow even the lyrics are communicated in a way that just feels off, mostly appearing to come from a background of someone who hasn't actually been down that pathway. Actually,
like this guy talking about metal.
Okay, yeah. And as such, these lyrics seem excessively direct and even derogatory at times, failing to give respect to their subject at hand. This guy doesn't know the backstory of Fade to Black. Fade to Black was written by a very depressed James Hetfield after all of their gear was stolen, trying to make it as a band. I'm not gonna lie, if you spent that much on gear and it all fucking went away, you'd be pretty upset.
I guarantee you, if anybody actually out there knows this person, let me know if I'm wrong. I guarantee you this motherfucker not only is not in a band, has never touched an instrument or written a song. He may own a guitar and can do some chugging on the D, but I guarantee you this motherfucker has no clue what it takes
chugging someone's D
to be has no clue what it takes to be in a band or write songs. Because if he did, he wouldn't be writing half of the shit that he was writing. Like, that's the thing. So
over to you for the next paragraph.
Oh, thankfully the rest of the album fares a quite bit better. Each of the three remaining tracks doing something different. The aforementioned Trapped Under Ice, he didn't mention that earlier. So fuck you. It was not aforementioned. Shows the last vestiges of punk and speed metal. I hate it. For some reason I did not want to say the word vestiges. It's just I'm exhausted with that word. It's a decent it's a decent, albeit unremarkable thrasher made for the pit. The final two tracks show perhaps the most potential of any of the tracks of the album. Creeping Death for its heaviness and The Call of Cthulhu for its melodies. Both are stretched long, especially Cthulhu, but they do contain the best examples of what Metallica would expand upon. In some ways, you could even describe these tracks as what ifs, seeing as Metallica do heavy and melody right here, but are for the most part unable to capture the magic for the rest of the album.
Okay, here's something I take issue with. The production is fine. It's fairly treble heavy, but I still think everything has room to shine. This album never struck me as treble heavy. If anything, it struck me as quite, oomphy and mid-rangey.
I think what he means is that there's not a huge clicking double kick drum that's louder than everything else in all of the fucking music, which is like most modern metal. That's what he means.
Because of this and the bass tone, the high bass parts can get buried, but for the most part it's acceptable. For performances, aside from Lars, they're quite tight. Hetfield having the right arm of the century, Burton providing plenty of complex low end, and Kirk providing good leads that complement the riffage. But Lars really is and will always be the albatross around the band's neck. He is a fucking dismal drummer, seeming to barely keep up with any variations in the song, and when he isn't drumming, just plods away endlessly with no variation. I'd say it lets the riffing breathe Ken Owen style, but with Lars's technical inexperience and overall pedestrian arrangement, it's less like he's letting the riffs breathe and more like he's leaving them out high and dry with no support for 1,000 miles. Okay, Lars helps arrange the songs.
That's fine, but I'm going to give this guy a couple points because he mentioned Ken Owens, and so, okay, maybe he knows a little bit more than I thought. Because I always equated both those drummers, Ken Owen from Carcass and Lars, because they're both drummers that aren't necessarily great, but for the music, I think that they're perfect, because I don't think that either of those bands would benefit from a Mike Portnoy or something. Is it that his name, Mike Portnoy?
Yeah, Mike Portnoy.
Somebody like that. I don't think that's necessarily. But anyway, here's another one of his patches on his Metalhead starter kit jacket, which is I gotta talk about how bad Lars is. Garen fucking teeing you, he's not a drummer. And if
Lars not technical. Lars is not a technical drummer.
If this guy was a drummer, I guarantee fucking to you, if you put him behind a kit to do the show that Lars does now as a 60-year-old man, he could not fucking do it. But once again, it is what it is. So this is the last paragraph, huh?
Yeah.
This review seems complicated because my view of Ride the Lightning is complicated. That's not why. I'm going to tell you right now. I commend Metallica for making such a huge stylistic change in such a short time frame. Okay. But the execution of everything is still quite spotty, and Metallica would also develop some very tasty, nasty habits here that still dog them to this day. At the end of the day, Ride the Lightning isn't a good album, but you still can get some enjoyment of the standout tracks, Creeping Death and Fight Fire with Fire, at the very least. If you consider this a gem, you're in for a real treat when you get exposed to the true world of heavy metal. Oh my God, that last sentence gave me douche chills. Yeah. Oh my God. So that is literally a sentence written by somebody who doesn't quite understand.
Yeah.
Because if you say things like that to people, you yourself have not been exposed enough. Yeah. Holy shit, man.
At the end of the day, this is bizarre to me. At the end of the day, Ride the Lightning really isn't a good album. I am astonished. Like, if anything, I feel like Ride the Lightning is the most universally praised Metallica album next to Master of Puppets. I'm not like butthurt or anything, but I am in awe that as a metal fan, you can't see the quality that this album possesses.
All right, so you're able to go to the Roman Shitlord's profile, and the Metal Archives has it correctly. Here are his stats. Rank, metal newbie, 100%. Age, 21. It shows. His name is Andrew. Andrew, give yourself some time and some experience. You're going to come back and you're going to think you were an idiot for writing that review. Or you're never going to learn. And yeah. Anyway, so it was a well-written but not with very little, what's the word I'm looking for? Insight. It's not I appreciate anybody that can write like a long thing that isn't just, a bunch of, cliched terms and poorly written sentences. I give them some points, but yeah, it really comes across like a dude that has just dipped his toe into metal and is now that guy that's like, name 3 songs. You'll know it when you get more into metal. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. I may have come across another one.
Okay. What am I searching for?
You are gonna, the title of this review is gonna make your blood boil.
We've already covered my favorite album of all time, which is why I was very defensive.
Yeah. Well, I've picked another one I know that you love.
Oh shit.
So I've gone for Dirt by Alice in Chains.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And it's the percentage is 69%.
Hey, I like that percentage.
69, dudes.
All right,
But
let's see.
it's the Dirt Alice in Chains overrated and overappreciated. Well, for a start, he's spelt overrated wrong, so that's bodes well.
Where is it?
So
69%. Where is it? Oh, here
it's
we go. Overrated and overappreciated. So once again, this is written by somebody called Metal Won't Die. Calling something overrated, you might as well already tell everyone your opinion is null and void, because that is, yeah.
I don't like it, so it's not good.
Always reminds me of that scene. Have you ever seen the movie Hot Rod with Andy Samberg?
No, actually, I haven't. No.
Oh, anyway, it's just like the girl that he wants to be with is dating this guy, and I think he drives like a Trans Am or something. And then the very next scene, he's like, "You know what? Car is totally overrated. Trans Am." So it's like, that's what the word overrated always makes me feel like. You're a child.
Yeah.
Like I can understand if you don't like something that a lot of people like, that does not make it overrated. It makes you unique. I'm going to give you that. You're a unique snowflake.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you want to read this 69% review of Dirt?
I'm intrigued as to what someone would have negative to say about this album.
Now that I know that we can see somebody's stats, let's go look at them. Okay, this person is in their mid 30s.
Okay.
They should know better.
Well, let's be completely fair. This review was posted on July 22nd, 2009. So
this was do math for me. 34
15 years ago. So they would have been 19.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, I hope that Aaron, I hope that he has grown up since then, because this is already looking to be a shit show. Okay. You start this. You start this one off.
Okay. Alice in Chains' sophomore release is Dirt. Is almost universally overrated, and I cannot believe it.
What the fuck does that sentence even mean, Aaron?
Many of Dirt's songs have received. Sorry, that was my bad. That was me fucking it up. Many of Dirt's songs have received extensive radio airplay, like Them Bones, Rooster, and Wood. Dirt is a mix between the slow, gloomy doom of 70s Black Sabbath and the more modern early 90s alternative grunge scene. Alice in Chains' outlook on Dirt is very dark and bleak, owing most likely to Lane Staley's drug-induced lyrics. Okay.
Drug-induced? He gave the lyrics drugs? Not what that word means, sir.
No. So over to you. You keep the show on the road.
The songs range from up-tempo groove metal, numbers, to the mainly mid, slow tempo grungy doom metal numbers with a lot of focus on strong atmosphere. Dirt's production is done well, placing each instrument clearly in the mix. As said above, Dirt's atmosphere is extremely important to each song's identity, giving a dark, foreboding, helpless feel to every song. Dirt has a very melodic edge to it, mainly on the more epic numbers like Rain When I Die, Rooster, and the title track Dirt. Power chords and eerie held notes make Dirt simplistic and very minimalistic in terms of songwriting and complexity. I don't have to disagree with you there, dog. Guitar solos are rare and usually melodic. I think every song has a guitar solo, but hey, who the fuck am I? I've just heard the fucking album before. All right, go ahead.
Lane Staley's vocals are solid, mainly focusing on a mid-range, grungy voice reminiscent of Nirvana's Kurt Cobain minus the annoying quality.
Okay, go fuck yourself, Aaron.
I was going to say, that's going to set old head off.
This is not that you just are. Okay. Yeah.
This ain't it, pal.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
Sorry.
now I'm pissed off. Jerry Cantrell's guitar work, for the most part, is either of solid or filler quality, and he provides effective background vocals. Filler, not one moment of this album is filler, especially in the guitar department.
I agree. I agree.
Mike Starr's bass guitar is audible for the most of the record and really adds a big deal to Dirt's overall heaviness. Okay, we can agree on that. Sean Kinney's drum work is solid and just enough to pass closer inspection, but far from evolutionary or excellent. Okay, but it doesn't call for that. This isn't a tech death album. Overall, the band members' contributions, while mainly solid, could have been much improved upon and far less restrained.
How? That's the thing. I want this person to explain the songs that he's written that could be better than this.
There's just not enough sweet picking.
All right, hold on. Let's say Dirt has many factors and elements that weaken the songs, weaken the quality overall and entertainment value of its songs. Many of Dirt's songs are overextended and are very repetitive, especially on the choruses. Dirt is too long, just barely missing the hour mark, and too many songs are present. Dirt could have been reduced to 9 or 10 songs and to 45 minutes in overall in length for much more effective impact. Iron Gland is under a minute and serves no purpose besides adding another track to the album. I don't think that's why they put it on there, but okay.
No.
Tom Araya from Slayer guest vocals, and he should be ashamed of his participation on this song. Oh, he's a Slayer stan. Okay. So that explains some of it. Dirt's material is far from original and has been done before. What? Before when? Sorry.
And
after much better in terms of if quality, your fucking writing could be done better. Next paragraph, sir.
Okay, this is incredibly bad. Okay, Dirt is overall a below average album and could have been done much better. Dirt seems to be
come back. Explain.
Yeah. Write a better song than Wood.
They needed more blast beats.
Yeah. Dirt seems to be given so much credit because of its high rate of singles appearing on rock radios around the country.
That is not why.
No.
Talk about not understanding. All right, good for you, sir. Go ahead.
Best songs are Them Bones, Rooster, Dirt, and Wood. I recommend this album only to fans of grunge rock and alternative metal. Anyone else, please stay away. Okay, here we go. May I do this scoring system?
Yeah, let's do it.
Minus 10 point. Wait, is it minus 10 points that he's giving it?
Yeah, I think he's subtracting. This is how he got his rating.
Okay.
He's subtracting points from 100.
Okay, minus 10 points. Restrained and minimalistic approach to songwriting. Hard disagree on that. Yeah. Minus 10 points, overextending songs that are very repetitive, especially on the choruses. Again, every song on that song runs for as long as it needs. Minus 5 points, overall length of Dirt and its songs is too long. Songs are too long. Minus 3 points on Iron Gland, serves no purpose besides as a filler track.
3 points?
Yeah. How did you arrive at that?
Yeah.
Minus 3 points. Dirt's material is unoriginal and has been done before much better. How? Show me a band.
Who did it before this?
Who was doing those vocal harmonies? Who was doing?
There are other bands that did some of the kind of things they were doing, but
to this extent and this cohesively, I'm sorry, this guy doesn't know what he's listening to.
Yeah, he's not very bright. But once again, it's like that old saying, you know, those who can't do, they critique or whatever. Because most of the time that's what you're getting. You're getting critiques from people that don't have any firsthand knowledge of what it actually takes to do any of this stuff. And most of the time also not enough knowledge about all of the other things going on. And taking things out of context, reviewing an album from 92 in 2009 and saying shit like it had been done before. Well, it hadn't, but okay.
Oh, I may have discovered the mother lode, my dude.
Okay. All right. I think we could do one more. What am I looking for?
We're looking for Faith No More, Angel Dust. and clocking in at a whopping 0%.
Oh my God! Oh, just wait. Hold on. God
It
damn it!
it's titled "A Musical Migraine" by Merciful Satyr
Oh,
from
okay.
July 30th, 2009. So this is also 15 years ago.
0%. So this person's name is Merciful Satyr.
Okay.
They are now 30. I don't know if does their age so if this is 2009, then they were a teenager when they wrote this.
They would have been 15. I would think. I
So
would
this
think.
person says he plays guitar, bass, and does vocals. He's currently in a band called Radiance. Not a metal band, but it doesn't matter. I know it doesn't matter, dude.
Okay, I can't wait to dig into this fucking.
His favorite band. So he's now this guy does list Alice in Chains as one of his favorite bands, but all of his other bands are literally just like you're not digging very deep into metal. You know, it's like Hellstar is Hellstar the band from Houston? I think they're from here, old school metal band. But Sabbath, Maiden, Priest, Merciful Fate, Megadeth, like it's not really very interesting. But that's coming from the guy whose favorite band is Metallica, so don't listen to me. But
Basic bitch.
but I'm not the moron that gave Angel Dust a 0.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad he hasn't come to his senses to come and delete this, because now we can read it. Why don't you start it off?
Okay. It escapes me how a band as talented as Faith No More can release a legendary album and then immediately afterward come out with something as crappy as this. Granted, they have a penchant for sounding completely different on every new release, but the other Faith No More albums, as well as a lot of Patton's other bands, all seem to be strange and wildly original and at the same time kick serious ass. Angel Dust just doesn't. How? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. How can someone claim? Okay, I'm just gonna say this now.
Go ahead.
Something's not adding up here, because because the standard deep dive Patton fan, if they're gonna shit on a Faith No More album, it's gonna be the real thing. As far as I've seen in the wild. Because they're like, he hadn't fully, he's still in his blah, blah, blah era, But, I can't wait. I can't wait, dude.
I'm gonna say something. We're gonna get to this eventually, but I cheated and I skimmed a little bit further. And I'm gonna give you a little piece of information that's going to help you understand.
Okay.
He appears to be a homophobe. So
okay. We've lost a layer of legitimacy there.
Let's continue though. The production smothers everything, making it all come together in one bludgeoning wall of noise. Did he like download this from LimeWire? And like,
yeah, it just sounds a Trojan horse.
Great. It's production wise, it's an improvement from the real thing, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Anyway. Most of the songs are drenched in synthesizers. But and despite of the band's previous accomplishment with synths, this album seems.
Hang on. What? Right. Sorry, I know I cut you off there.
That's okay.
Most of the songs are drenched in synthesizers. Have you listened to the previous 3 Faith No More albums? It's like.
But he's saying something about it. But despite the band's previous accomplishments with synths, this album seems to use them just for the sake of doing so. The music is uniformly infested with the mallcore bug. What the fuck does that mean?
Oh, fuck off.
Not to mention the often annoying babbling of Mike Patton, who somehow manages to dispose all of his talent, replacing it with generally insipid shouts, wheezes, and other obnoxious sounds. The guitars tend to employ uninteresting melodies, while the bass attempts to stake out its territory but fails because of the overpowering synths.
But I
don't know what version of the album this dude heard. Like his was defective.
Yeah. Just chiming in with Molcore. It's the sort of stuff you'd hear playing in a Hot Topic. I've never heard anything. I've never associated Faith No More with Hot Topic ever.
So to be fair, this guy, if the math is correct and the age is correct for the date, he was like 15 when he wrote this or something. So
Yeah.
I was kind of an idiot when I was 15. So I was an idiot up until I was in my 30s. So
Not this dumb. Okay. Sorry, continue. Did you?
No, it's your turn. Next paragraph.
Okay, gone are the oddly disturbing and imaginative lyrics of the real thing. Wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
If anything, that they're more creative. Instead, we're subjected to odes to lazy slobs and old guys too stupid to even reach the first grade. That's one song and it's done very effectively, but okay. There's no real variation between genres, which is usually Faith No More's trade. What the fuck? What album did he hear? What album is this guy listening to? It ain't fucking Angel Dust. This is the most varied yet in their discography.
This is fucking hilarious.
Hang on, right. There's no real variation between genres, which is usually Faith No More's trademark, and the only actual deviation from primordial Molcore is RV, an even more irritating bit of rambling boredom. There's even some bothersome angst. What the he's acting like it's a fucking Papa Roach album. Like, such works...
Just wait. We're going to get to it.
Such works of lyrical genius as "You're my flavor." I see where this is going. "You're my flavor of the week," I swallow, and the children's sing-along chorus of "The blatantly homosexual be aggressive" leave a pungent aftertaste. Okay. This guy, I think. Yeah, okay. While inspirations towards the awful modern version of alternative metal manifest in the 3 Days Grace precursor Everything's Ruined and the typically new metal like Malpractice. Malpractice sounds nothing like fucking new metal.
Yeah, it really doesn't.
Like, if any song, like, if I can think of any song that resembles new metal on this album, I would think something like Kindergarten. Like, where there's a lot of like kind of vocal deliveries.
Oh, you mean like Epic
harmonics.
That was on the fucking previous album?
Yeah.
Moron this dude is.
If there's any new metal fucking Faith No More song, it was Epic on the previous album, like you said. Like, which, by the way, fucking hell. Hang on. New metal like Malpractice, which, by the way, also includes infant soothing lullabies. All right, there's a fucking...
Oh, they did something different in the song and he doesn't like it because they used to do different things in the song and he doesn't like that they don't do different things in their... This guy is... I really hope he got smarter. Because this is a really good example of the shit that I deal with on the internet and why it's so frustrating being like a fan of music that just wants to talk about the music I love. Because you have other people who are complete, dick bags who don't know what they're talking about, but decide that because they can, they need to critique albums that they actually don't really understand and don't have the knowledge and the, I don't know, bandwidth to really understand what it is. And so they bring in shit that they know, like mallcore, which I'm just like, it's a very 2009 term, I'm guessing. But this is why I get so frustrated, because there's so much of this right here on the internet and on YouTube of people that are they're just talking because they can. And I'm just like, anyway, go ahead. We still got this rest of this paragraph to go.
There's the occasional good moment, like the very beginning of Land of Sunshine, but such parts are so outnumbered by the bad sections that they seem almost non-existent. B. Aggressive. If I wanted to do that, I wouldn't be listening to Angel Dust now, would I? Didn't think so.
So he brought up that song again. So this guy. So here's the thing. That he's called himself out. Maybe he's not a homophobe anymore, but
he's definitely taken a offense to the fact there's a song about man on man oral sex on this song, and
Yeah, he's
I don't like that.
so now. I mean, maybe he was closeted. There's that whole sort of like doth protest too much kind of thing.
He,
And
potentially.
maybe later on in his life he came out. And if you
Mm,
did, congratulations, sir. Live your truth. But
mm.
if your truth is
Yeah,
writing
if this is
shitty
it.
reviews, then fuck off and die. Um, this album is probably what you'd expect from a cover sporting the title in a pretty cursive font with an elegant swan and a parental advisory sticker both appearing at once. I mean, they didn't put the do you think that they put the parental advisory sticker on there? By that I mean crap. Merciless, take no prisoners, crap. How this came after the real thing, I'll never know, but apparently Faith No More realized this wasn't the way to go, I hope, because after this, they put out their most eccentric and eclectic album and one that managed to be the complete opposite of Angel Dust in terms of quality. King for a Day had a noticeable lack of synth, so he doesn't like synthesizers or gay people, apparently. A more acceptable production and no cringeworthy missteps from Mike Patton. I'll stick with the previous album and Angel Dust's follow up. Thank you very much. Notice he didn't mention anything prior to the real thing, probably because there's a black person in the band. But
Yeah.
but there you go, merciful satire with
Yeah.
probably one of the worst reviews I've ever read in my entire life.
Yeah, this ain't it. This this screams ignorance.
Yeah.
um
So just to sum that part up of this episode, shut the fuck up, everybody.
yeah.
Not everybody, but I'm just saying like that. That's the thing I don't really. I've never. I don't understand, and I don't. If you're, I don't know. I don't. I would never. I guess this person is a fan because they like the real thing and they like King for a Day, and so I guess that's why they would want to write a review if they really felt this strongly against the album, but they have absolutely no problem with a song referencing eating shit, but they do have a problem with eating semen. So
Yeah,
there you go.
it's
That's all you needed to know about that. So anyway, I mean we can't, it takes all sorts, I guess.
yeah.
And if we didn't have horrible pieces of writing like this, then there wouldn't be you wouldn't be able to really see how Cranked and Ranked is such an amazingly thoughtful and well crafted and researched podcast.
Damn
Thank you.
right we are.
Yeah. A lot of people hate what we do. So, shit.
Yeah, well, screw them.
Yeah. Where are we now? How long have we been doing this? I don't even know.
I think we've been running the average length. I think I've got one more bad review in me.
Okay, let's do that. Let's do one more. One more.
I'm thinking Risk by Megadeth.
Can we read a good review of that? I like that album.
You know what? Should we end this on a positive? I've seen an 83%, and it says, "Oh, grow up, children." So
okay. I like
okay.
this. Let's do this.
Okay.
Hold on.
Let's finish on a high note.
Megadeth.
I think we've birthed a new spin-off on this show.
The read reviews.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
for
I
Risk.
can't think of a good title. You're gonna have to do that.
It's "Oh, grow up, children." It says. Like for the show.
Hold on, but there is one that's 93%.
Okay. What does it say? What does it say?
It says risking is my business from 2009.
Okay.
Man, so many of these are from like 2009. The Grow Up Children is from 2007. I mean, we can do either one. I think we should go for the highest one though.
Okay. How about this? You read yours, and I'll read mine. I think
Oh,
we'll shine a positive light on a unfairly maligned album.
okay. Do you want to go
Okay.
first then?
Yeah, yeah. So this isn't thrash or even. Oh, this is by Leonard from
Uh,
August
let's
9th, 2007.
let's look up Leonard's profile. He's now 36, so this would have been once again he was a teenager.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, he
he
would have been 20, 16 years.
it
No,
still
wait, no,
says
19.
it still
Sorry.
says metal newbie, so I'm assuming he hasn't done very much on this app. Anyway, good app. I wish it was an app. There should be a metal encyclopedia metalum app. I would love that.
Damn right. Uh, so this isn't thrash or even heavy metal. That doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. The people who think non-thrash equals shit need some lessons in logics. Because the only thing that can truly ruin an album is the song material, not the genre.
Amen.
This is a guy with a brain.
Yeah.
The question is whether there is bad material on this album, and my answer is yes, there is, but not a lot of it. The only song which really doesn't do it for me is Insomnia, simply because the
I like
lyrics
that one.
suck and simply because the lyrics suck and the music is too much of the same riff over and over again. Now he's allowed to not like a song, but
Yeah.
he is presenting a very fair review here.
Yeah.
Now I like other music next to metal, so it really doesn't hurt me that there's no snarls or heavy riffs present. The reason why I like Megadeth in the first place is Dave Mustaine's voice and his lyrics. Therefore, there's nothing which will stop me from liking Wanderlust. I'll be there for you, Time, Crush 'em, and The Doctor's Calling. Why? Because these are good, honest rock songs with excellent vocals, melodies, and solos. I just can't understand why people are comparing this album with NSYNC and Ashley Simpson because it's way too heavy to sound anything like it.
Yeah.
Rock doesn't equal soft. Megadeth never was an all thrash metal act. Megadeth is Dave Mustaine with his inner demons and political opinions, whether the guy is thrashing out or dancing to Russian folk songs. Like I said before, apart from Insomnia, there are no bad songs. My personal favorite is Wanderlust, which I rank in my top 10 of best Megadeth songs. Honest rock, good lyrics, which remind me of Clint Eastwood cowboy movies and wonderful vocal lines. If you are open-minded enough and like the softer songs from Cryptic Writings, you shouldn't have any problems with this album at all. If you keep whining about the fact it isn't heavy at all, go listen to Slayer. Now there's some overrated band. Or some
He said overrated. He ruined
he,
it.
I wouldn't say he's ruined it, but he did lose a point for the
Yeah.
overrated.
Yeah.
Or some corpse grinding black/death act. However, if you are open to quality, soft music, you'll be able to like it well enough. And I think
Yeah.
that is someone I would happily have a drink with. That
Yep.
is someone I could hang with.
Yeah.
Okay, your turn. Your turn to shed some light on Risk.
93% from the blacksmith. And
Yep.
he right now it says he's 33. He's from the UK. He's from the UK. But he just does say my reviews are shite. So I don't know. So this would have been also when he was a teenager, unless he was 30 at the time. I don't know. If anybody has knows how that works, like, do you sign up and enter your date of birth and then your age increases? Because I'd like to know, was this written by a 30-year-old or a 15-year-old? Because it's a very different review then. All right. Risking is my business and business is good. The original plan was to review Megadeth's albums in chronological order, but I simply had to get this one out of my system. The common misconception about Risk is that even Dave himself hates it, but anyone who knows anything would know that this is false. And I quote from the liner notes of the remastered version of the album, I still contend this was a great record, but it's not what Megadeth fans expected to hear. I mean, if he thought it was a great record, he wouldn't have fucked it up on the remix. So, as true as that statement was, the album certainly has its handful of diehard fans, one of them being me. But he also likes Poison and thinks Pantera were better as a glam band. I mean, I like Poison. I don't think Pantera were better as a glam band, but we can't meet up on everything. What does he know? Yeah. Granted, but if you only like Megadeth for their heavier thrash sound, the chances are you gave up on the band long ago anyway, so you might as well just stop reading this now. Go grab Rust in Peace and thrash your heart out now. Do it now. Of course, it's ludicrous to state that the only reason so many people looked down upon Risk was because they were narrow-minded thrashaholics, but there's no denying that there would have been a lot of people who were like that. After the half-assed snooze fest that was Cryptic Writings, I agree with that as well. Comparatively speaking, Cryptic Writings is a lesser album to me. And the first lineup change in years, I found that the mixed bag that was Risk to be a refreshing change of direction. And it really is a mixed bag. There's a bit of metal here, and then there's bits of hard rock, electronic prog, stadium rock, alternative, even a little bit of country. Things kick off. This is a fucking long ass review. I think I'm going to skip to the end.
Do you want me to take things here for a minute? I'm pretty good at soaring through these.
Yeah, because it's where it says things kick off with insomnia, because I think he's going. There's a lot here. I appreciate the positivity on Risk, but yeah.
I don't mind stepping in. Things kick off with Insomnia, which is probably the most aggressive song on the album. Not that that's saying much. The song has an electronica-style electric drums in parts, but the riff sounds like it could have come from Countdown to Extinction. The chorus is really catchy as well. In fact, pretty much all of the songs on here have a catchy chorus, something Megadeth have been doing on all their albums since 1992. Catchiness is the basis for any pop album, melodic hooks and nothing else. Happily, Risk has more substance than that. Prince of Darkness is a great lower-paced song with a sinister spoken intro, and again, a highly catchy chorus. Many people have criticized Risk by calling it a sellout album, but I'd be quick to disagree. The varying styles on this album are simply too inconsistent to make it an album of radio hits, unlike the Metallica albums of the time. This has much better than Load, and as far as I'm concerned, much better than anything Metallica have done since 1984. Wow, that's strong.
All right, now I'm very confused because this guy, on one hand, seems very bright, and then goes and says something as dumb as that. And okay.
Okay. Crush 'Em is awesome. Light, atmospheric intro that builds up to the huge anthemic chorus. Killer stadium rock, simple, silly, but great fun and highly memorable. The fact that a song like this is then followed by a song like Breadline clearly demonstrates the inconsistency of styles I mentioned before. Instead of being a huge stadium anthem, this is a light melodic rocker with a strong country vibe to it. It's a very good song, but it's hard to imagine that it would have released by a band called Megadeth, a band whose back catalogue includes songs called Love to Death and Wake Up Dead. Wail Up Dead. There's a typo there. The same goes for everything on here, really. The Doctor's Calling is a bit boring, but still fairly enjoyable. But then we get to the awesome I'll Be There, a sentimental ballad-like song that can rival a Tout Le Monde in terms of beauty. In fact, I actually prefer this to the Euthanasia classic. It also has one of my all-time favorite lyrical quotes, "We stopped dreaming and started believing." This is followed by the songs Wanderlust and Ecstasy, both late 90s alternative rockers, with the former having a very light post-grunge sound to it. Closing the album is the two-piece song Time. The first piece is an atmospheric acoustic affair, which works as well as an introduction to the second part, which is great hard rock heavy metal, a great end to the album. This is Unless You Have the Remaster. Here we go. See, this is where he's going to save it for you.
No, he's not. He's not. He's just talking about extra songs.
This means you have the 3 bonus tracks, which are different mixes of the songs Insomnia, Breadline, and Crush 'Em. They aren't anything special, really. First one is an enjoyable listen, but dear God, Jock Mick's version of Crush 'Em is shocking. The whole appeal of the song is that it's anthemic. This mix totally destroys that and makes it sound like a horrible techno song or something. But it's not fair to take away points for bonus tracks. Anyway, bonus tracks aside, a good album. If you don't like hard rock or alternative rock, avoid. If you only like heavy metal, avoid. If you thought Megadeth have been going downhill since Countdown, definitely avoid. Otherwise, give it a listen. It's worth the risk. Pun 110% intended.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I agree with him. I really think that if you're reviewing a Megadeth album and you mention Metallica, you pretty much lose 50% of your credibility. Same thing goes for if you're reviewing a Metallica album and you mention Megadeth. That also, you lose 50% of your credibility right away. But, you know, it's nice to have some positivity for albums like that. Next time we do this, we should do positive like Saint Anger or something. And
yeah.
But hold on.
Oh,
I want to do something real quick.
Are you doing the same thing I'm doing?
No, there's no way we're doing the same thing right now. So what are you wanting to do?
Well, I'm just trying to come up with an idea for next time we do one of these. And I'm thinking I'd quite like to read some reviews of a certain 2011 release um, by our shared favorite band. Uh,
Oh, Lulu.
I'm of course talking about Lulu,
Okay.
because there are 25 reviews and very few of them are positive.
Yeah.
But I'm just here for the that GIF of Michael Jackson in the movie theater just like knocking back popcorn. That's how I feel reading through these.
I'm trying to find. So when I was younger, like around the early 20,000 to 22, what do you call those? The
Early
early
2000s?
2000s and then the early 20 teens, I actually did album reviews
Yeah.
for a couple different uh sites, but I'm trying to find what is my favorite negative album review I've ever done.
Oh wow.
Um, let
Okay.
me see if it's here. Um, let's see, what was that?
Do 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 do
Sorry,
do.
guys. I'm trying to find this. Hopefully, I can find it because it'll be fun to read. Because I kind of remember it, and I was really excited by it when I wrote it.
I might see if
Mm,
I can find. I might see if I can find a short but sweet Lulu review. This one's just called "Fuck Metallica." uh, okay, okay. This is gonna have to be an episode all its own, man.
okay.
Oh, dude.
Oh, shit. Nope. Here we go.
What we got? What we got? What we working with here?
I'm just trying to see if I can. Fuck. I think that this thing is so. It's such an old publication that
How old we talking? How old is it?
it's I think the issue that I probably am looking for, you're probably talking about let's see what is the date on this one.
Ooh. Do you remember what it's called? The publication?
The magazine is called Citizen, Citizine. What was the date of
TI.
this? It was early 2000s. The interesting thing is I found out that there are issues of this that I have stuff written in that are on eBay for $40.
Holy shit!
um,
No way.
anyway, I'm sorry, I can't find it. I'll have to like actually next time I'll actually have to bust out the actual magazine and I'll read it. But anyway, but I can give you a little preview. An album review for the very first album by the Black Keys. And
Oh.
all I know is that in one part of the review, I referred to the songs as I don't know how many songs there were. So let's say there was 10. I called them 10 slices of white bread smothered in mayo.
Would that have been the big come up?
No,
No.
it's called something factory,
Rubber Factory.
rubber factory. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I
10 slices of
the
white
Black
bread
Keys Rubber
smothered in mayo.
Factory review. Fuck off. Maybe that'll find it because I know it used to be online.
Rubber Factory review.
Sorry guys for this boring ending to this episode. We were doing so
Citizen.
well.
Okay.
Mm.
Oh, dude. I really want to find it now. Do 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 do.
Yeah, it's not gonna
No.
come up. I'll bring it next time we do one of these.
Okay.
Um,
Cool.
but maybe I could find you one, like my worst review of on another website that I wrote for. This is actual website called Scene Point Blank. I wrote for them in the early 20 teens.
Hmm.
And let's see, if you go to, I know you can go to staff, and I'm still there as like former writer. There I am. Okay, so let's see. If we do all of my reviews, let's see, what was one that was a bad review? What did I not like? Because this was a one where like they sent me stuff and I would just, I would be reviewing stuff that I was just really not into.
Yeah.
Um,
You know what I got to thinking the other day, just while it's on my mind now that I've brought up Lulu.
yeah.
The riff to the view is fucking sick.
Oh yeah, it's great. All right, so
Yeah.
I think this is probably the worst one because I remember I actually got hate mail from fans of this band.
Okay.
Um, and so this was for a band called Eight Bells and their 2013 album that's called The Captain's Daughter.
Okay.
And I was not a fan. And so here's my review. I gave it a 3 out of 10 was my rating.
Okay.
All right. This was written in 2013 by Old Head, who at that point was younger.
That was
Sometimes
younger head.
younger head. Sometimes the best plan can be to have absolutely no plan. Occasionally, a band can inadvertently create something truly unique and enjoyable that defies all categorization. More often, a band will hastily throw together something that is such a mess that the only solution is to slap a fancy description on it in hopes to appeal to the kind of music fans that are more interested in describing their musical taste rather than actually listening to them. I can't even begin to apply the slightest amount of sugarcoating on this one. The Captain's Daughter is unforgivably bad in numerous ways. It is a rambling, uninspired, amateurish collection of jam sessions that barely resembles an actual album. So, of course, you will find terms like experimental, psychedelic, and post metal being thrown around in a desperate attempt to make some sense out of this nonsense. Eight Bells is helmed by Manita Jackson, whose rudimentary effects-laden guitar work serves as the feeble backbone of this mostly instrumental album. Taking elements from metal, progressive rock, and post-punk, the band seemed to have all the right ingredients to create something epic or at least interesting. Unfortunately, The Captain's Daughter ultimately serves as a cautionary example of how a lack of planning can be utterly disastrous. Each of the album's 4 tracks feels like an extended introduction to a song that never actually begins. The opening track, driven by a reverb-heavy post-punk inspired riff, succeeds only because it feels like the wistful beginning to a fascinating album. The charm quickly wears off with the realization that The Captain's Daughter has nothing else to offer. I appreciate that the intention was to create dark atmospheric pieces of music without relying on traditional song structures. However, Jackson's dense, repetitive guitar melodies are simply not interesting enough to carry entire songs on their own. I could easily fill another couple of paragraphs detailing the album's multiple shortcomings, from embarrassingly crude performances, including a number of noticeable drum flubs, to an unnecessarily lengthy ambient section and an almost laughable detour in what would only be described as freeform jazz rock. I have quite a bit to work with, but in keeping with the spirit of The Captain's Daughter, I'm going to forego spending the energy to flesh out my ideas and simply let this review haphazardly peter out. That was my.
Wow, that's fun. I don't know if I've ever seen you review something that like brutally before. Like that we've talked about at least over 1,000 albums on this show at this point for sure.
Yeah.
And like there's been times where you're like, I for the most part am very subjective, but this is bad, you know.
Yeah.
But I've never heard you like articulate how bad something is like that before. That was fucking brutal.
To be fair, I was a little harsh because, like, you know, I've thought of that review in years since, and I've gone back to listen to it, and I go, look, this album's not good. but I don't think it deserved. I don't think it deserved all of that. But that was mostly just me kind of entertaining myself because I didn't get paid to write,
Yeah.
and sometimes it was fun. It's fun to just take something that annoys me and just put it down on paper.
Yeah.
And the the um the hate mail I got for that review were mostly people that I think they were friends with the girl that does the guitar on in the band, and
Right.
they were just like, "Why are you targeting her?" And I'm like, "Because she's the fucking guitar player in the band, you dumbass." Like, who else's guitar playing am I going to talk about? But they were
Yeah.
just like, you're being so rude to her, and I'm just like, it's a shit album. And
You're
the guitar
reviewing an
playing's
album,
not
dude.
great on it. Am I supposed to give her some sort of points because she's a female guitar player? I'm not going to ever do that. Never. The guitar
No.
playing wasn't good. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Wow.
but yeah, so I there's only a handful of albums that I've written really bad reviews for. But honestly, it was that experience doing album reviews and occasionally getting feedback from idiots that made me realize that I don't actually enjoy that. And what I really wanted to do was just write about the albums that were making me feel something and making me excited. Problem
Yeah.
was doing that kind of stuff. Most of the time, those publications didn't want me to constantly just be writing about whatever album I wanted to write about. They wanted me to write about stuff that they got.
Yeah.
And then sometimes stuff I wanted to write about was already being tackled by somebody else. So I was left with, are you going to write something or not?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, all right, I guess I'm going to write about this album that I didn't like. But I mean, I think that's well written and fun to read, but I'm never proud of shitting on anything aside from like Michael Graves' Misfits, maybe. But everything else, like, if I really like rip into something, I'm usually just like, it didn't deserve that because who the fuck cares? Somebody enjoys it and they can just go enjoy it. But because I don't want people to write ridiculous reviews like the Angel Dust review where they totally
Yeah.
fucking don't understand it and but
Yeah.
claim to be some kind of fan. That's just, it's baffling to me. But
How are you going to turn around and say the real thing is like fantastic and free of nu metal tropes when Epic is often cited as one of the earliest examples of a style that would become fucking nu metal? Like,
yeah.
oh,
But anyway, that was
yeah,
fun.
it was. I had fun.
I feel like I'm out of steam though, because
Yeah, I definitely think that this should be a returning show, though. I think this was a fun little experiment. We've stumbled upon a new show.
yeah,
within the show.
also the peanut butter platypuses and aluminium squirrels out there. Give us some feedback, whether it be on YouTube or if you just want to shoot me an email. If you're a podcast listener, do you like this? Where, I mean, sure, we could do more where we read bad reviews, but what about multiple episodes where we don't really have any kind of plan and we just kind of wing it, and
Yeah.
things like this can happen? But yeah, it was I had a good time.
Hell yeah,
And
yeah, it's a good show.
yeah, thank you all for being here and for joining us for the Untitled episode
Yeah.
of C&R Sidebar. You have any closing thoughts?
I'm looking forward to the Lulu one.
Well, then we'll have to do this again soon, just so we can read. Maybe
Yeah.
we should come up with other albums that we want to either read bad or good reviews of.
Yeah.
And because I can already think of a few that I would definitely like to read bad or good reviews of. So that would be fun. Anyway, all right. You're all beautiful people. Thank you for watching and listening, or both. I guess if you're on YouTube, you have to use your I guess. Well, I don't know. These are. I think you can do captions. I've never actually looked to see how well the captions work because I know you can turn them on and they're kind of automatic or whatever.
Yeah.
But I've always wondered, like, if it's
So watching an episode of Pingu.
Why watch that again with the subtitles and tell me what it says. Anyway, all right. On that note, thank you very much for being here. We'll see you next week with or next time. I'm going to start saying next time, just in case in case we got to take a week off. We don't disappoint too many people. But the next time you see us, we will be doing another artist ranking, and it's another pretty fucking major one. Like, we've got a couple big guns that we've pulled out already, and it's barely February now. So yeah. Big so I hope you guys enjoyed this. Back to more cranking and ranking next time. And as usual, I'm going to throw it over to Eddie Sparxx to take us out.
Later, dude. Going classic mode. Oh my God! Holy shit!
there was fireworks behind me, so apparently Zoom loved that outro. So great job, Eddie Sparxx.
This is incredible. I love this new feature that neither of us knew about.
I'm gonna look into it. All right, bye everybody.